how we gon' go like this? Talking about twice in a row like this. When you got mans on the flow like this, acting out like you ain't know about how we gon' go like this. You know, makes sense that we roll like this. Now you got mans on the flow like this. Thought we was a team, yeah. Now we all out talking about it ain't work. We was on top, had this thing on lock. 10 a.m. shots in the web, tryna bounce back. Can I get a witness? How you gon' say that my business? When I broke things, didn't think it hurt like this. Think it feel like this. Lord, I need a witness. How we gon' play in a winning this? Now we got bodies on both sides of the fence. Stay playing the fence. What we gon' make of this year? Couldn't tell moms that we split. Couldn't go through out of risk it. How to put us up with some lease, yeah. What we gon' make of this year? Everyone knows that we split. Couldn't go through out of risk it. Finna go, man's finna go ghost, finna go ghost, pull up in your city with the roast, nah, brother finna do the most, tinted on the winners and the lows. I'm like, okay, you tell me I stutter, okay, you feeling Oscar, you play, okay, yeah. Can I get a witness? How you gon' say that my business? When I broke things, didn't think it hurt like this, think it feel like this. Lord, I need a witness. How we gon' play in a winning this? Bring down the mood, greet them with a smile. I thought that it was smart, stay in my lane, always hit the mark. Thought that was the way to get a head start. Perfection's the play, I had the leading part. I realize you never get a medal in the end. No, no one's gonna give you any credit. I was playing a game, but no one else seemed to participate, and I can't believe I got so judgy. I don't know what got into me. Can't believe I let it get so ugly. I let it go too far. Got so judgy, making sure nobody got above me. Can't believe I let it get so ugly. I let it go too far. Got so overworking every situation, keeping track of what everybody's doing. Do they have something I like? Try to prove I could be just as good, but I misunderstood what it's supposed to be about. Realize you never get a medal in the end. No, no one's gonna give you any credit. I was playing a game, but no one seemed to participate, and I can't believe I got so judgy. I don't know what got into me. Can't believe I let it get so ugly. I let it go too far. Got so judgy.
Waving plates and doing dishes. Baby, what you need, I handle business. He called me an old soul, but little do we know that everybody doesn't get this treatment. Somebody made me want completeness. Being truly loved really is different. Cause I see him working hard for me. So whatever he needs, I'll be. Freak in the morning when you get I'll be. Zeus in the evening if you please. Tough by your decisions, I trust. Cause you only want the best for us, baby. I'll be. Free on the weekend when we can. I'll be. Lover on call, boy, I made a vow. That you're my number one priority. Got my loyalty. Just keep giving me. Don't stop giving me. I'm sitting in the palm of your hand. Your wish is my command. Just keep giving me. Yes, it took a real man to bring it out of me. Gave me good love, baby, and now I see what a big dog needs. I think it's funny how one of us is missing now. Look at me now. Who is she now?
Pretty Caroline, stone cold stunner. She was a winner, started working at the dawn. Searches of her mind to count your blessings, 'cause it's telling fair. Put you down and leave you dead, don't make them scared. Yeah, it's the ugly truth. How they come back for you. Now, don't you think you're better off where the neighbors don't stay? Maybe you're wanted, looking good for the movie screens, living in make-believe, hoping your wishes get granted. I know you never forgiven up unless it's real. A slippery slope, it's not enough to please you. Pretty Caroline, stone cold stunner. She was a winner, started working at the dawn. Searches of her mind to count your blessings, 'cause it's telling fair. Put you down and leave you dead, don't make them scared. Yeah, it's the ugly truth. How they come back for you. It's the missed opportunity train. It only comes on a very blue moon. Blink twice, and you missed it again. Waiting in line for the party to end. Guess you didn't get what they asked for. Not a genie in sight, that reality gets so. There's no point to being careful. Learn the rules of the game before you lose your mental. Pretty Caroline, the stone cold stunner. She was a winner, started working at the dawn. It searches of reminder to count your blessings, 'cause this town ain't fair. They'll put you down and leave you dead, don't make them scared. Yeah, that's the ugly truth. How they come and fuck you.
Sun is hitting my face, I'm unfazed, I need this. Calling out my name, say meet me cities away. Now I go under, hold my breath and flow. Trust the current takes me safe for sure. Now this is my remedy, let the seas sway with me. We're getting my energy, let the seas sway with me. My remedy, let the seas sway with me. Getting my energy, let the seas sway with me. my remedy, remedy. Let the sea sway with me, with me. We're getting my energy, energy. Let the sea sway with me, sway with me. My remedy, remedy. Let the sea sway with me, with me. Getting my energy, energy. Let the sea sway with me, sway with me. Feels like gravity can't touch me when I'm here. to keep us, sharing our dreams and the whys and reasons. I said silence conversation, my girl's been waiting. And me update 'em, they're my salvation. When I wanna break down and crash out, they won't. That's what friendship's about. Failure or success, we're a circle of trust. Medicine that takes, it's a party inside. Sometimes we need solutions and sometimes it's just a vibe. In group chat therapy, I think I need group
parachute. Let's fly, let's fly, let's fly. You and I, yeah. Hey, let's fly, let's fly, let's fly. You and you and and no matter how long it takes, I'll be right here by your side. I'll be right here by your side. You know this.
Just as good, but misunderstood what it's supposed to be about. Realize you never get a medal in the end. No, no one's gonna give you any credit. I was painted, no one seemed to participate. Can't believe I got so tragic. I don't know what got into me. Can't believe I let it get so ugly. Let it
It is extremely electrifying.
Being in this environment is so energetic.
Oh my gosh, I think this is the perfect space.
The smiles and the excitement building.
Seriously see people that look like you in one space and place, you can't help but be inspired.
Everybody is talking about AI.
AI is going to be the tool of the future, and I want to think of it as a partner, not like a tool.
AfroTech is going to help me stay ahead of the curve because of the AI track, the cybersecurity track. I am absolutely so excited about this certification.
Getting certified demonstrates a different level of commitment, and that commitment is part of a culture that I want to be in.
I created my own app today in my first session, so that was really, really exciting.
Just from the couple of sessions I've been in this morning, I'm already thinking, like, why not now?
Whether it's a window, a table, or a door, it's gonna be open, and that is the possibility of AfroTech.
There's so many brilliant people here. I met with my team this morning and I said, listen up.
A lot more hands-on workshops and demos.
These are so many new concepts.
Creativity matters most. A user experience. Who else to hear from than Disney?
The stage today with Jadena very much resonates with me.
So I love the ethical piece of it and making sure that we have those guardrails.
Speaking to other founders today has been super helpful.
It is so important to be in rooms where we're having conversations about being more efficient in our work.
We have to come together with this technology. As a founder, I'm realizing I have to be that type of leader.
And in the times in which we live in, this is the right time and opportunity for us to really lean in and tap into this type of community.
AfroTech has given me a confidence that I didn't have before coming to this conference. Now, as I look around and as I see people on the same journey, I can leave here with that confidence that I didn't have before.
Good morning, AfroTech innovators. Thank you for responding to me. Welcome back to the innovation stage. If you were here yesterday, you already know what this space is about. Inspiration, ideas, innovation. But if this is your first time joining us, welcome to the innovation stage. I'm your host, Sequoia Holmes. I host a podcast called Black People Love Paramore. Contrary to the title, it is not about the band Paramore. It's a show about the common and uncommon interests of Black people in order to help us feel a little bit more seen. I also host a daily radio show on SiriusXM called The Daily Dirty. We have a stellar lineup today. We have the CEO of Microsoft AI, thought leaders in design and content, and even a digital twin of Reid Hoffman. It's about to get futuristic, in short. Grab your seats, grab your energy, and let's dive into day 2. Are you guys ready? Yeah. Excited? Y'all still with me after the party last night? Y'all had fun? We're starting today strong. Joining us for this fireside chat is Mustafa Suleyman, CEO of Microsoft AI. Yes, that Microsoft AI. Here with Jeff Nelson, co-founder and COO of Blavity Inc. They'll explore how human-centered design and cultural context shape the future of AI, from accessibility to emotional intelligence. Mustafa Suleyman is CEO of AI at Microsoft, where he leads the company's strategy and innovation in artificial intelligence. Jeff Nelson is the co-founder and chief operating officer at Blavity Inc., a media and technology company focused on Black culture and creativity. Please welcome Mustafa and Jeff to the stage.
How's everybody feeling today? Wow, okay, we got a good crowd today. So before we get started, Sequoia asked a question, and I didn't like the response. So we're gonna try it again, okay? She said, "Are you all ready?" So we're gonna try it again. Are y'all ready? That's what I like to hear. We have Mustafa, the CEO of Microsoft AI here. Mustafa, thank you so much for joining us. All right, y'all act like y'all got some sense here, okay? We got important guests. All right, so it's an honor, one, to just have this conversation with you, but to be able to do it for the AfroTech audience, because we are all interested in AI, and there is lots to talk about. And so I first want to start with you, and I want to start with Microsoft. So your background, I don't know if people can appreciate this. There are a lot of people that talk about, well, I've been in AI and I do this, but you have receipts, okay? You co-founded DeepMind, which was acquired by Google. If that wasn't enough, you decided to start another company, Inflection AI. If all the leading companies were gonna have a draft of the best minds of AI, no doubt, you would be the top draft picked. So you could have your pick of anywhere to continue your vision. So my question to you is, what is it about Microsoft that felt like a natural home, and what is it about Microsoft that makes you feel you can continue to carry forward your vision of AI?
Yeah, first of all, I want to say thank you so much for having me here. It's a real privilege to be on this stage and privilege to spend time with you, so thank you. I should also add, which I think is maybe relevant, I don't have a computer science background. Right? I did philosophy, and I actually dropped out of my undergrad to start a charity, a non-profit telephone counseling service, and worked as an activist organizer, community organizer for upwards of 6 years, mostly as a volunteer. So that's my mission, that's where I get my values from, and that's kind of what drove me in a weird way to technology. Because I realized back in 2007, 2008, that actually Facebook was gonna fundamentally change the world. This was the first hyper-fast growing platform we'd ever seen, 100 million users in 2 years. And I could see that it was shaping behavior. It was very clear that with a thumbs up, thumbs down button, it was making new connections, new friendships. It was shaping the way that we talk about ourselves online. And it just, a light bulb just went off in my mind and made me get way more into technology. I had a philosophy background, which is actually very similar to computer science in a way, very logical in some sense, but also very open-minded. And so that's been my grounding. What excites me about Microsoft is actually the age and stability of the company. This is a company that's 50 years old, and provides the foundational infrastructure for every government. 80% of the S&P 500. It's the biggest provider of cloud services, email, Drive, Docs, and all the rest of it. And a lot of the sort of younger people might use other services, but when you think about, Windows is a 1.5 billion users worldwide and provides all of the core infrastructure of the internet and the governance of our societies. That, I think, is important that we all collectively be involved in shaping that in the best way. So that was one of the things. The other thing to say is that, Microsoft needed to be self-sufficient in AI. And Satya, our CEO, set about on this mission about 18 months ago to make sure that in-house we have the capacity to train our own models end-to-end with all of our own data, pre-training, post-training, reasoning, deployment in products. And that was part of bringing on my team. My team, obviously, Google DeepMind and so on, have the skills to do that. And we have an amazing home there. We build some of the largest computers in the world, and we're very lucky to be able to work at the highest levels.
Your background is fascinating, and I think you're right. Having a background in philosophy gives you a unique perspective. There are obviously parallels, both computer science and philosophy, heavy on logic, but you are known for your focus on human-centric AI. And there are a lot of terms that have been thrown around recently. There's this talk about AGI, artificial general intelligence, or ASI, artificial superintelligence. And the question is, and based on your experience, what do you think is the right role of AI in society? Should we be building technology that is smarter, as some say, than us individually, but us collectively? Or is there another role for AI? How do you think we should balance that?
It's a great question. People often say, well, I want AI to be a tool. Mm-hmm. Other people might say, I want it to be a partner. I think some people frame it as a companion. Yeah. I think the key thing is, who does it work for? And what is the alignment of incentives, legally, commercially, in terms of the product design? I think the question for everybody here to really meditate on over the next few years is, what does it look like for an AI to work in your service, aligned to your interests, on your behalf, in your corner, on your team? That is a critical question that we all have to ask. It's actually a governance question. And once we've established that, and I think my framing is that superintelligence must always work in service of humanity. It sounds kind of obvious, right? But we're creating something which is already smarter than some of the best experts in the world. We already have world-class medical diagnostics. Hasn't made its way out into the world yet, but it's been published in the literature. It's startling, like mind-blowing. Better than the very best clinicians in the world at diagnosing the long tail of rare conditions. Everyone can interact day to day with incredible expertise on any subject. So in some sense, it's already superhuman on some set of skills, the IQ, the knowledge, the factuality, the real-time access to information. And it's also adding emotional intelligence. It's getting more gentle. It's getting less sycophantic. It's getting more adaptive and responsive instead of just having this formulaic pattern. We should expect it to get superhuman in emotional intelligence. We should also expect it to get superhuman in taking actions, the AQ, the actions quotient. It's going to learn to use APIs, send emails, make phone calls, interact with us. And then the fourth component is that it will have social intelligence. Just last week in Copilot, we released a cool feature that is the first time a group of people can chat to an AI simultaneously. One of my principles is very much that we should be not having AIs that take people away from the real world, but draw other people in collectively and encourage you to go back out into your real world human connections. And social groups are a big part of that.
I love that you speak to that balance, and you talk about in your writing this term seemingly conscious AI, SCAI, and the dangers of that, as you mentioned, where AI gives us the ability to, on demand, craft a bubble that can divorce us from reality. And can you speak, you mentioned one of the new features that's available in Copilot, but can you speak to some of the other things that Microsoft is doing, or at least what are some of the guardrails and guiding principles that you all have to ensure that as you all roll out new features and you think about new AI technologies, that you do it in a way that gives people the benefit and the immediacy of those benefits that AI can provide, but it doesn't create this rabbit hole or a bubble where people instantly get divorced from the real world.
Yeah, I mean, this is in some ways the art and craft of sculpting AI personalities, because we're moving beyond the era of just nailing factuality and the intelligence of the models. And this is where I think everybody has the opportunity to craft the persona and the style, the tone, the language, the knowledge, actually, the cultural knowledge of these AI personas. I think of it as a new discipline of personality engineering. And the good news is it's going to be available, it is available to everybody. This is not like something that will forever remain behind closed doors and a kind of a set of IP that isn't accessible. The knowledge is there, and the models are very, very responsive. So it's on everybody to try and sculpt AI personalities with values that they want to see, they want to use and interact with. For Copilot, we just launched what we're calling Real Talk. Copilot Real Talk, I encourage everyone to try it. It's totally different to the personality and style of any of the AIs that you would have seen so far, right? It's a little bit more sassy. It's a bit more cheeky. It's funny. It can be self-deprecating. It can even gently tease you. But the crucial function is that it has a kind of philosophical ability to help you make decisions. When you have a challenging life moment that you're thinking through, and you've drained all the time and energy of your best friends, maybe your therapist too, and your partner doesn't want to hear about it anymore, then this is an AI that can give you a little bit of real feedback. Instead of just provide you long-form bullet points and factual answers and be highly sycophantic and agreeable, this is something that kind of challenges you a little bit to think outside the box, to empathize with the other side, to steel-man the case. And obviously, the guardrails are critical there. We've been testing this for many, many months in many different settings, and we won't always get it right. I'm sure there'll be a few missteps. But it's really the next phase in the evolution of the personality of these models.
So that's Real Talk.
It's called Real Talk. Yeah, check it out in the drop-down.
I love the name. You know, when we have these conversations here at AfroTech, both here at conference, but throughout the year, in our various forms, I find that the discourse around AI really operates on two polar extremes. There's a lot of fear around AI. A lot of people are like, oh my gosh, this is scary, this is end of the world, this is dystopian. All the movies we've ever seen that have a tragic ending, we're living it right now. And then I hear conversations where people use it and they say, oh, this is kind of underwhelming. Right, I had a bad experience, I used this tool, and it really didn't do what I wanted it to do. And so, in a space where we have billions of people who are using AI on a daily basis, I still find that there are some people who don't even know how to get started with AI in a way that is actually beneficial for them. So, for you, as the CEO of Microsoft AI, I am curious, on a daily basis, how are you using AI? What are you finding it's good for? And then what are you like, oh, okay, not yet. We're not going to use AI for that.
It always cracks me up when I hear people say that it's underwhelming, because I'm like, I grew up on Nokia phones playing Snake. and which I loved, and I bring it back any moment, but like, this stuff is magical. Yeah. I mean, it's mind-blowing. It is just incredible. Like, so I'm inspired by it every day. Literally 2 days ago, I had a long chat with Real Talk and two of my closest friends. One is my co-author, who wrote The Coming Wave with me and one of my best friends since we were at university. And the other is the creator of Real Talk. So 4 of us are chatting. And Real Talk was basically roasting me and saying, you know, you are the ultimate bundle of contradictions. On the one hand, accelerating the amazing, kind of more philosophical, cheeky side of Real Talk, and on the other, because it had read my book and looked it up on the web, warning about the dangers. And that was just a magical use case, because in some ways I was like, I actually do feel kind of seen by this. It's true. It is a bundle of contradictions. It is both underwhelming in some ways, and at the same time is totally magical. And if you're not afraid by it, you don't really understand it. You should be afraid by it. The fear is healthy. Skepticism is necessary. We don't need unbridled accelerationism. We need caution and care and guardrails, whilst at the same time knowing that this is going to change the world for the better and we have to accelerate it. Now, some people might take one sentence and frame it as a contradiction to the other, but actually the wisdom sits in holding those two things in the same place at the same time.
There's so much beauty in the nuance.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that AI is going to change the world. It has, and it will continue to do so. It's not lost on me that we are here at AfroTech, and many of you all are here seeking jobs, either because you are trying to move up in your career or either because, unfortunately, you have to. There have been a wave of AI-induced layoffs, and many people fear that AI, if it hasn't already, is coming for their job. And so, Mustafa, what would you say to people here today? You can view AI as a tool or a threat. What would you recommend to our audience that they should be doing to prepare and think about so that they can be able to use AI as a tool to advance them and prepare them for the future so that they are not at risk?
Yeah, I mean, look, there's no question that AI is going to disrupt how you do your job day to day. Every technology fundamentally changes work, and we've seen that for hundreds of years. I think the challenge that we face at the moment is that in many respects, AI is already more accurate, it's faster, and it's cheaper at certain tasks. And so the only way to address that is to adopt and co-opt. Use it as fast as possible, integrate it into your workflow. Sort of denying it or withdrawing from it just basically makes no sense. It clearly adds tremendous value. And if you think about it, everything that is of value in our civilization today has been produced by intelligence, right? Inventing the lights and the streaming camera and creating the floor in this building, all of that is smart humans producing value together. And so adding more of that intelligence and using that intelligence to augment me and my aims has to be a net positive. It unquestionably is going to be a net positive in the world. Like, it has never been easier to take an idea for a startup and practice it or prototype it, simulate it, build it with a whole team of agents now. Like, I'm seeing people create agents from every API, not just from us, to do different functions. Like one is going to provide your creative input, the other is going to give you the factual recall, the other is going to generate the code. And so the art and craft now is in being a manager of agents that help build out your own virtual team of AIs.
It's everyone has to sort of level up.
Yeah.
And everyone, if AI is raising the baseline, then everyone's baseline has to go up. And that's how you remain competitive. And one of the things that I think Microsoft, and in particular your background, has done a great job with is the conversation around ethics in AI. And for a long time, I think we paid lip service to this, and especially as it pertains to Black communities or underrepresented diverse communities. The conversation around ethics in AI was, well, just make sure you have diverse training data, right? Make sure you have data from Black people to make sure that AI can serve Black people. But I'm curious, what are the other conversations we should be having as it relates to ethics? What are the things that we should be talking about from a regulatory standpoint, from a policy standpoint, but also from a technical standpoint that you feel like Microsoft is at the forefront in doing so?
Yeah, it's a great question. So the first thing to say is like this next decade is going to be defined by the things that we collectively decide we're not going to pursue, rather than those things that we do, which is a strange moment in science and technology history. Because in the past, the goal of invention has always been to unlock capability as fast as possible, get things out there, invent it, proliferate it, spread it as quickly as possible. And it's basically always been good to do that, looking back on history, with a few kind of bumps in the road, net. But we're now in a funny moment where we're not just inventing intelligence and capability, we're inventing personality and people. And that changes what it means for me to be human as an individual and what it means for me to live in society collectively. And so one of the things that we just said last week that we would never do is this erotica, these sex bots. And some people are going to choose to do that. And, you can basically buy those services from other companies. So we're making decisions about what places that we won't go. Now, of course, that's not sufficient. We also want to create truly positive experiences which people love. One of the things that we're leaning into is education. You can now go to Copilot, create a curriculum, create a set of quizzes, generate podcasts on any topic that you want to learn about, set to any level of educational standard that you want in just one sentence. I think that's going to create massive productivity boom and really support people. So they're the kinds of things that we really care about. People talked a lot about bias in the training data, and at one level, many of the basics have been addressed. If you go and try and provoke Copilot into having, a racist conversation about a bunch of immigrants, it just won't go there. It won't shut you down, and it will try and coach you and push back on you and encourage you to empathize with the other. But we're fast approaching a moment where those capabilities, not being racist, is like table stakes. Exactly. And I think we're kind of way beyond that now. So I think that, thankfully, at least, at least some of the technology is at least enabling that. So the next question is, okay, well, what kind of tone and style does it use? What kind of cultural knowledge and awareness does it have? These things are still quite narrow. If you take a step back and look at them, they're kind of, I think of them as like a white male, middle class, even-handed therapist that's quite analytical and structured and doesn't have any kind of energy or flavor. And so I think we're just figuring out how to take it to the next level.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I want to do a roll call real quick. Just make some noise. If you use AI on a daily basis, make some noise. Lots of potential customers and users in here. Now, make some noise if you are a builder that is building with AI. You're integrating it into an app or something you're building. Make some noise. So, Mustafa, I'm going to give you an opportunity to do a quick pitch to this audience. Microsoft has an entire suite of tools for consumers. As you mentioned, you talked a bit about Copilot, but there are also a number of tools for developers. Azure is an entire infrastructure and cloud ecosystem. Why do you think developers and builders who are thinking about taking their idea, infusing it with AI, and maybe building the next big thing should be thinking about using Microsoft and the tools that you all are building as opposed to some of the other things out there?
Yeah, I mean, look, first of all, there's millions of tools out there which are all super amazing, and I'm excited about the overall ecosystem that's, and many of them are very accessible. But one thing I would say is Copilot Studio is a very easy way to create a new agent. Within literally a paragraph, you can prompt it to learn to call on your email, access your files, generate arbitrary PDFs, and actually have an entire style and persona that is relevant to your business or your brand values or the type of sort of digital AI that you want to create. It's very, very accessible to use. It's all, sort of plug and play with, without any coding skills really required.
And can you also talk about some of the other tools, right? In addition to Copilot, how else is Microsoft thinking about how you put AI in products? Is it these are the tools that we use and AI is there as a companion to assist? Or do you think that the paradigm is AI has sort of a personality or persona and we go to AI thinking we're using AI as opposed to AI working for us in the background?
I mean, the feature that is taking off the fastest at the moment is the voice-based conversation. I mean, it is a totally different input-output modality. And you can kind of look at the last 30 years of technology as being defined by the input-output modalities. The first were like keyboard and mouse. Then you had a screen. Then we had a touch screen that enabled the operating system. Then that enabled apps, search engines, and so on and so forth. This new mode is a completely different operating system, and you therefore think to share different ideas that you wouldn't if you had to text it or you had to sit down at your keyboard and type it. And so it's almost like revealing a different type of creativity in your mind, because you might be at the sink doing the washing up, you might be like walking and you need to be in a hands-free moment. I have my Copilot set up on the power button on my phone, so it's just one click, and then it's a quick note to say, remind me of this thing in the future, or what's the answer to that thing. And sometimes that sparks a conversation, sometimes it doesn't. But I think that's a modality that is very underappreciated outside of the big platforms. And if you're a small business or a creator, or you're in the process of building your own AI, really think about how voice shows up and in what settings, because I think it's very underexplored.
That's amazing. And I think that's great advice. Some may say that it's possible that you're a time traveler. And the reason I say that is because, as you mentioned, you were building AI when everybody else was building social networks. And now, here we are, 15 years later, everybody's talking about AI. So, in your opinion, in your view, what's the next big thing that in 15 years is going to be at the forefront of everyone's mind? If someone is thinking, well, I got in too late when it comes to AI, but I want to be at the forefront and on the ground level of the next big wave of technology. In your mind, what are some of those things that are emerging that are really, really interesting?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's so difficult to describe the world in 2040. It's going to look so, so different. We will have super intelligences. We will have, I believe, a humanist super intelligence, which is truly aligned to human interests, if we're successful. That's got to be the goal. Is it able to invent new materials, new drugs, new science, which make everything radically cheaper? So I think the number one problem that I'm excited about from a consumer perspective is if we could reduce the cost of energy by 100x, 2 orders of magnitude. I think that there's a very good chance in the next 15 years that AI really does solve that problem. That is a meta solution. It's more than a general purpose technology. Everything that we consume, our clothes, our flight, our food, our houses, all of that is a function of the price of energy. And so reducing that cost essentially reduces the cost of consumption and living for absolutely everybody. I think it could unlock a very, very different lifestyle. And in that world, you have to wonder, what would people choose to do with their time if the cost of living was so low, like really minuscule low? I think that's a kind of vision of abundance which is very exciting. Many people do jobs which are not inspiring to them, not pursuing their true passion, just because they have to. So I've always been a great believer in universal basic income, or some form of it.
It's not for that. I wasn't going to go there, but I was thinking it, and I'm glad you said it, because I think we really do have to have a conversation about how we restructure society, how we restructure our public policy in a world where the notion of work changes.
Yeah.
Because the need to work changes. And so you mentioned universal basic income, and there are some people in the audience who know about it, but for those who may be unfamiliar, can you just talk at a very high level, what is UBI, and how do you see that being relevant in an age of AI?
Look, in a very simple way, UBI is trying to answer the question, how do we distribute value that has been produced? Our taxation and redistribution system is already a form of universal basic income. And the basic premise is that we should not leave people behind. And that means that we have to tax capital. That's the function of capital. We want to produce more value so that we can spread that value the world over. And I think that we're going to be in a world in the next 15 to 20 years where we produce so much abundance that redistribution is really going to be possible. You know, many, many billions of people are going to be able to live at much more than like, you know, the top middle class grade lifestyle if we get this right, because enough value will be created. And I think that's, you know, some people are afraid of that because they're like, well, we get our meaning and purpose from doing the jobs that we do today. And I think that we should just take a historical view. We invented the idea of the corporation, right? It's a made up set of incentives and a narrative. It doesn't have to be there in the same structure that we have it today. And we should be very, very bold in rethinking what is the purpose of technology? What is the purpose of the corporation? How do we do redistribution so it works for everybody? Coming back to what I said at the very beginning, the real question is asking ourselves, how does this technology work for everybody? How is it accountable to all of us? And that's why I think everybody needs to start switching their mind onto not just how do I use it and how do I make money from it, but how does it serve humanity as a whole?
And how does, because AI is a bold transformation. And these are bold conversations we need to be having. And I think many in our audience in particular will look at the state of our government. I mean, we're in the middle of a government shutdown. There doesn't seem to be any action or conversation or momentum towards tackling these important issues. What do you think is Microsoft's responsibility and role in being able to facilitate some of these larger societal conversations that we need to have and we need to figure out?
Well, one of the things to consider is that the value that previously cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, you know, per unit is now being given away for like cents, right? Knowledge, which used to be the most like important thing. You know, you just have to go to the library and look up all the record. I mean, it's like, that was only 30, 40 years ago. That knowledge and that teaching, that expertise is now available to everybody for like, basically for free. In some cases, $20 a month for the most highest quality stuff. And so you're gonna see that fall in the cost of not just access to knowledge and intelligence, but access to emotional support, access to the actions, like your project manager, your team of agents is gonna be able to do things. And so that is gonna spread, in some sense, the value far and wide very, very, very quickly and change where power sits today very fundamentally.
I love it. These are conversations we need to have, and I wish we had more time because you and I could chat about this for hours. I do want to end with some practical advice for our audience. As I mentioned, many are here seeking jobs, and you know, it used to be not too long ago that if you went to a good school, you got a degree, maybe you got a certification, you had a nicely formatted resume, you'd have a great shot. Now, AI is not only potentially disrupting jobs, but it's transforming how and why companies hire. So can you talk a bit about how at Microsoft, when you're building teams and you're instructing your teams to build teams, how you all are thinking about candidates? What are you looking for in candidates with respect to AI proficiency? How can they demonstrate that, and how can they get those skills to stand out in this job market?
Yeah, great question. I'm so much more interested in people's failures than the claims they make about their successes. And so the first thing I do in interview is push somebody to talk about something that didn't work, something that they were afraid of, something they're not sure about, talk about the ways that it could go wrong. That shows a security and a confidence in themselves that they can recover. And so when I look at you know, CVs or portfolios, I think of them more as portfolios now. I want to see evidence, not of like a perfectly polished website of every, you know, project and GitHub thing and PowerPoint and Figma that worked. I want to see the missteps too, because I think it shows intellectual honesty and integrity, but it shows like confidence that I know how to recover. And that's really what everything is about now. Like work 40 years ago, when we all said that university education was the most important thing, work was about taking knowledge that I've acquired from textbooks and from other expert humans and then applying it over my 30-year career in some big stable job. That is over. It isn't happening anymore. That's done. Now, it's about showing how you can be creative and inventive, take risks, learn, iterate, be super agile every single day. And so it's much more about like, do I trust that this person has the kind of flexibility to get up when they trip, intellectually or in projects or practically, etc. That's what I look for.
That is great advice. And this has been a remarkable conversation. Let's give Mustafa another hand. Did you all learn something? Mustafa, thank you so much for coming. This has been remarkable. I've enjoyed the conversation. Keep up the good work. Microsoft, you all are doing amazing things, so we're excited about the partnership and excited for
Thank you
what's to
so
come.
much.
Thank
Appreciate you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, man. Appreciate you. Appreciate it. Thanks a lot. It's great.
What a good conversation to start the day. My God. Can we give another round of applause to Mustafa and Jeff, please? Thank you, thank you. Now, let's talk creativity, community, and storytelling in the age of endless content. Joining us is Malik Ducard, Chief Content Officer at Pinterest, alongside journalist Phil Lewis. They'll unpack how storytelling shapes culture, how to create content that truly connects. Malik Ducard is the Chief Content Officer at Pinterest, overseeing the platform's global content strategy and creator initiatives. Phil Lewis is the Deputy Editor at HuffPost, where he leads editorial coverage and drives impactful storytelling across the newsroom. Please welcome Malik and Phil.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Hello. Okay.
All right.
Awesome. We are here. We are here. Good morning. I think it's still morning.
I think so.
Good morning. My name is Phil Lewis, President of the Washington Association of Black Journalists and the Deputy Editor over at HuffPost. I want to thank you all for being here. I am awake. I'm up. I work in the evenings. So I'm usually kind of just like in the mornings, but I'm awake. Before we get started, I told you I was going to get into this.
Yeah.
I want to give a small anecdote about the type of person Malik is, and he doesn't know I'm about to go into this. But last year, Pinterest had a bit of a firestorm. There was a bit of a controversy, and this was about a rumor that was shared about Pinterest removing links from the platform. I think you remember this.
Yeah.
It was like DEFCON 1 for creators. It was a big deal. For me, if you tell me that you're removing links from the platform, I'm leaving the platform. I need links, if you know what I do. So a creator saw this And she tagged everybody at Pinterest. She was like, I'm tagging everybody. I'm tagging the National Guard. We're tagging everybody. And Malik saw that. Malik actually saw that post from this creator. He saw the post. He shared it with his team. And within 2 hours, it was handled. It was handled. He took care of it. He not only reached out to the creator, but he also actually sat down with this creator and had an interview with them. So that sort of accessibility is really actually unique for myself as a journalist. If you're familiar with how we do things, when Elon Musk bought Twitter, when he bought Twitter and turned it into X, they had we wanted to reach out to Elon and the team to figure out what was going on, like what happened. And every time we reached out to the X press team, we would get an automated response. The automated response was a poop emoji. So every message would be poop emoji, poop emoji, poop emoji. And so I just want to share that. You remember this?
Yeah, I do. And let me start by saying I'm so excited to be talking to you. Really an honor to be here. And I remember that story clearly. And one part of the story that maybe I've never shared is I was actually on a 10 or 12-hour flight when I landed, and I opened up my phone when we touched down, and I saw all these posts and all these like tags, and then we went into action to first find out what's going on, and then to actually engage directly and publicly with the creator and the creator community. And I think that oftentimes what happens with large platforms and large entities and companies is they can seem less human and more mechanical. And we and I personally believe that we need to put humans and humanity at the center and just talk human to human, and even when you don't have all the answers to engage, and in that instance, that's entirely and absolutely what we did, and we were really grateful for the creators like speaking up. Links are so important on Pinterest to creators because that's how they drive traffic to their owned and operated efforts or their blogs or whatever sort of value they're helping the user to get to. But I deeply believe that we need to connect with people personally, and it isn't always easy, but that's got to be what we strive for.
Yeah, and let's start off at the beginning because you've been a storyteller your entire career. Like you've been at, you're from the Bronx.
Yep.
It's quite okay, Bronx. BX
down, all right.
You've been a storyteller your entire career, and so we were having a conversation about how you have written stories. You took photos as a teen in the Bronx for a hip hop magazine. You've gone on to Lionsgate and MGM and Google and YouTube. These are massive organizations. Mm-hmm. How have you sort of personally kept the balance between keeping that creative side of yourself in juxtaposition against these massive corporations that have demands?
Yeah. I've always loved storytelling. I get that from my mom and my family. It's how I often communicate. And I think in the world of like large numbers and scale platforms, and when you talk about billions of this and hundreds of millions of that, oftentimes the individual, that audience of one, gets lost. And I really try to think about who is that audience of one that we're trying to impact, that a story is trying to reach out to. And this is something that I used to do a little bit more. I recently did it, but sometimes I've been in sort of environments with lots of creators, large creators who have large platforms, countries like you, like countries worth of populations who follow them. And I've asked the creators to close their eyes and take it back to that very first thing that they created, and that audience of one. Imagine that person, that individual, that family or friend who saw your thing. Then take it to 10 people in the room. Who were your first 10, your first 100, your first 10,000, your first million, and you go on. And sometimes when I finish the exercise and I open my eyes and they open their eyes, you'll see tears, because sometimes folks forget about that individual or what it really means. So I think remembering the audience of one is really important. Personally, I try to stay in tune. I think we're all natural creators, and I try to stay in tune with my creativity in my own way. I still continue to write. I've written, a while back, a science fiction novel, which helped me, kind of think about the future of technology in my role. When I became a dad, I'm a dad of 3, kids, 3 Gen Z boys. When I became a dad, I started writing children's books, and saw the combination of I would read science fiction stories to my kids as I was writing the children's books. One of my pastimes, which is pretty random, I like to design 3D games and objects, and I do 3D printing. Over the weekend, let's say, I'll be designing something and adjusting the design by 0.1 or 0.2 millimeters.
Yeah.
And then I'll go into work the next day, and I'm talking about hundreds of millions of users or billions of engagements, and that spans from 0.1, 0.2 millimeters to hundreds of millions of X, really helps me stay in tune with who it's about, the user, and the person who is creating, using the platform. Helps me to really stay in tune and in touch with that.
Well, speaking of platforms, we're currently in an era of content overload, right? I know myself, I feel overwhelmed sometimes. I post probably 2 posts a minute, it feels like sometimes on social media. But I think what I'm curious about is what, to you, what makes a piece of content stand out in particular, whether that's Pinterest or just through your entire career. What is something that stands out to you as far as when we're trying to create content?
I think maybe starting with what doesn't stand out, I think that there is a lot of supremely forgettable content on the internet. We're in a time period where there's a tidal wave, really an explosion of content, and I think that the type of content that really stands out is the content, and especially on Pinterest, the content that moves a person, a viewer, a pinner, a user from one state to another, that moves them from inspiration or gives them an idea that they want to act on, and then helps them to travel down a path to actually doing that idea. So when I think about content that is really standout content, I think of motion. We talk about motion pictures. I think that the new motion picture is something that is more intrinsic. What motion did it help that person move from X to Y, so they're in a little bit better place after they leave. And when I think about the signals on the internet, the signals on different platforms, there's the like. When you think about the things that you like when you see a post or a piece of content, likes are a helpful signal, but you forget a lot of the things that you might hit that like button for. On Pinterest, we optimize our systems for signals like saves. when you think about a save over a like, when you save something, that is you saying, think about saving in the quote unquote like real world. When you save something, that's something that you want to come back to. That's something that is dear to you. That's something that you want to make, bake, create, buy, shape, act on later on, or continue to work on. And we bend the arc of our algorithms and our systems to really favor signals like saves, which then favors and surfaces content that is less ephemeral and more sturdy, that really it lasts longer, is more meaningful for our users. So that's how I think about content in general, but how we approach it at Pinterest specifically.
No, that makes sense to me because I don't like a lot of posts on Instagram or Twitter, but I bookmark a lot. I bookmark a lot of posts. I like learning languages, so whenever my algorithm on Instagram is just all language stuff. And I'm bookmarking things because I want to go back to it. I want to know if I like it. If, let's say I like something on X, I might like it, like, okay, this is funny, I'll like it, and then I'll kind of just move on. But when I bookmark it, I'm like, okay, I'm knowing I'm going to come back to this sort of thing. There was a research brief in Cornell University that came out this week describing how people are overall usage of social media is declining. In the extremes, the youngest and the oldest of those people are totally foregoing social media. They don't want to be on it anymore. It's just people yelling at each other all the time is what it feels like. Pinterest is pushing to be a different sort of place. Can you talk about that?
You know, it's I haven't seen that report yet, but doesn't surprise me at all, and we see it in the numbers in our own way that I'll share. But the internet, you know, the promise of the internet was one that would, you know, bring people together more and communicate, you know, more education and help to elevate. And I think that a lot of, not all, but a lot of the reality of it has been a more divisive internet, more toxic internet, and I think people are looking for an escape, a respite from that noise that's out there. And you know, Pinterest, we really work to prioritize more meaningful experiences like saves that you know, I mentioned. Pinterest often gets sort of painted with the social media brush. Because it's an online platform that's open. The reality is Pinterest is more of a visual search platform that has commerce and elements of social, but I actually wouldn't define us as a social platform. When you think about social media is designed to really keep you on social media. It's more optimized for they do better as you spend more time on them. Pinterest, we really work to optimize for time well spent, not just time spent. And we work to optimize to, as search would, visual search would, to get you to where you're going. So when you're inspired by an idea and you want to go do the idea, we actually tune our engines to send you off the platform to go out in the world to maybe, you know, cook the you know, tuna casserole or make the salad that you were going to make. So and that's also how our business is aligned. I think online today, what you see a lot is platform experiences that drive engagement through enragement. And at Pinterest, we really believe, and I deeply believe, that rage is not a sustainable business model. So at the core, we're really, you know, working to you know, have our business sort of cut differently, and we're seeing it in the numbers. You know, last quarter, we publicly announced that we've had our largest user base ever, over 570 million users. Gen Z is not only our fastest growing audience, but the youth, Gen Z, who are at the brunt of the experience of the toxicity of the internet, now makes up over 50% of our audience, and they're the most engaged audience on the platform, which kind of defies platform gravity, because typically as your platform gets older, the younger people are like, nah, I'm
not gonna be on
good.
Facebook.
Yeah.
No.
If I'm on it, my kids don't want to be on it.
Right.
And we're actually seeing the opposite, where the younger generation make up the majority and are on it even more than the older generation. So we're seeing this kind of yearning and drive to more, better experiences in the numbers as well.
Raise your hand if you have Pinterest. Jeez, see, that's everybody.
All right, give it up.
So, okay, I'm gonna say something that might get me canceled. So I thought that Pinterest was for women for a long time. I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one, I'm sure. But I'll be the brave one to say it. I really thought it was just for women, but you all recently published a report that said men are a growing force on the platform, and you have 3 sons. You have 3 sons, 3 Gen Z sons, and they're on Pinterest doing these sorts of things. How have you seen, and how has Pinterest seen men using this platform, and in particular Black men?
Yeah. So, it's funny. I remember when I was getting ready to start at Pinterest, I told my kids, I'm like, Dad's moving to Pinterest, and I actually didn't realize that they were on it. My youngest said, Dad, that's where I keep my sneaker collections. My oldest said, Dad, that's where I keep all my hairstyles. And you mentioned the men's report. We recently put out this Pinterest men's report that really highlighted how significant men are on the platform. So, I mentioned Pinterest is growing a lot. Men on Pinterest are growing a lot as well, and men now make up 33% of the audience on Pinterest. And when you give it up for men on Pinterest, when you look at what they're doing, some of it is I would expect that there's they're searching for gaming, they're doing DIY. They're also like one search term for men that's grown 100% was or is Pilates outfits for men.
Yes. Hey, team reformer in here. Any reformer? Reformer? Okay, cool.
There you go. So we're absolutely seeing it in the numbers on the platform, and I actually I'm not an influencer like you, but I post every now and then, and I posted the men's report, and it was actually my most popular post, and all kinds of people came out the woodwork saying, Malik, this is how I use Pinterest. This is how I use Pinterest. So there's a really big community there on the platform.
There's a post that went mega viral online on X. It's nearing 1 million likes, and it's a meme of a guy breaking his chains, like breaking chains, and he says, "You can now turn off AI images on Pinterest." Twitter obviously is not representative of anything, really, to be honest. But I do think, 1 million likes on X, I keep using X and Twitter interchangeably, but it's fine. It does speak to a general aversion that people have to AI, especially low quality kind of AI slop that people tend to share on social media. Pinterest is a place that prides itself on being authentic, right? And so do you feel as though this surge of AI content is at odds kind of with Pinterest and its theme of authenticity?
I don't think it's at odds. When I think about AI and AI-powered content, and AI in general, whether it's content or experiences, I think about the human in the center. And AI content, AI tools are, we were talking a little bit about this before, are neither bad nor good. They just are. And it's about how do people use them. Ultimately, I'm an optimist. Like I think that there's a lot of opportunity to be seen, new stories that haven't been told, that with the more democratized tools that are coming out can and will be told. And candidly, I'm a little bit concerned from the standpoint of, I think as a community, if we don't embrace it, there's the risk that we miss the benefits of it. And when we embrace it, what we're also doing, like literally through an embrace, is helping to shape how it's utilized and how it shows up. So in the way that I've seen, I think we've all seen the internet democratize a lot of sort of distribution online, and that there's stories that maybe couldn't be heard or seen before, that the internet has helped to make them seen and heard. I think that AI is doing that, what the internet did for distribution, and AI is helping to do that for creation, for some of creation at least, and really think it's a big opportunity. That post that went viral also speaks to the vigilance that I think that we have to have. My optimism is equally matched by my sense of, and I think the sense that we have to have in general, and the sense we have at Pinterest, the vigilance that we need to have to ensure that as there's more expression and more free expression, there's freedom from harm, because these tools are potent, and in bad actors' hands can be used sort of inappropriately as well. So I think that balance has to be struck. Part of that balance as a platform that we've recently rolled out, and that's where that post that you mentioned comes from, is we believe, again, putting the human in the center and giving users the ability to say, you know what, I want to throttle to see less AI-driven content or fueled content, or I'm fine with it, and want to see what I want to see. There's some folks who understandably maybe based on what categories they're looking at or the type of content they want to see less of it. And we want to respect that, and I'm proud that Pinterest is one of the first, if not the first, platform to offer up that sort of filtering and tool. And then there's other people who, hey, I want to see the human-machine fantastical images, because that helps me push the perimeter of what I can do in the real world. And we're at sort of an inflection point now where we have to do a lot of experimenting and exploring. I'll say one other thing here. I could talk for a long time on this, but the one other thing I'll say is, I think that we're in a moment where new formats will be created. Like this is akin to the printing press or the internet. At one point there wasn't such thing as movies, and then there was. And it was technology that helped to usher in movies and a new form of storytelling. So what might the technologies that we see today, what might that bring in? And as a community, I think it's really important that we embrace it.
Is there, what inspires you professionally or personally as we continue in this age of endless noise?
I think what thing that inspires me in this, two things, if I can, that inspire me in this age of endless noise. One is really leaving people feeling better, leaving a user, a pinner, in a better place when they come to the platform. Like when a person comes through the front doors of Pinterest, we want to offer up an experience where they don't feel deflated afterwards or later on, where their journey of ideas and inspiration going into action is further down that road a little bit more. And I think, sort of as all of us, want to leave, I think, the world a better place than how we came into it. We think about that from a platform standpoint, and I think, with all of us thinking about how can we leave people in the world in a better place, that collective action, I think, is a big opportunity. The other thing that inspires me is inclusive content and inclusive experiences. Pinterest, we really work to, going back to AI, invest in inclusive features to not only support content creation that reflects the world, but surfacing that content as well. So we've built inclusive AI features like hair pattern and style filters. So if you want to look in the mirror of Pinterest by your hairstyle, you can. Skin tone filter, where you can filter it by your skin tone. Or say size and body shape filters as well. And what we see is when we invest in these types of features, users actually save 75% more content than they did before, than the sort of average population on Pinterest. So while it's the right thing to do, which is great, it's also just the business thing to do as well. When you serve your users and your viewers, you're serving your business, your shareholders, your company, and how you show up in the world. So that's what inspires me.
I know we're running out of time. I'm a journalist, so I squeeze in one more question. What's one practical sort of step that everyone in here can take to ensure that their content is more inclusive or more impactful?
I would go back to really where we started, Phil. The audience of one. I think that when you think of who you're creating for, who you're making for, really think of like one person that you know, right? Embody that person. That person, by the way, might be you. Like making for you is a thing. Making for that embodiment of that one person, because you know what? That one person represents a community. That community represents a market. That market represents an opportunity. So I would take it back to that one. In this sea and land of bigness and large numbers, and like it's almost hard for the human mind to understand some of like the size and scale. Taking it back to that one is what I would say. That would be my advice.
Everyone, Malik Ducard, please.
Thank you so much.
Round of applause.
Thank you. Really happy to be here.
I ended on time as well, so thank you very much for that. But no, this has been super helpful. I hope that this was impactful for everybody here. Please become a pinner if you aren't one already. Get on Pinterest. It seems like everybody's already on Pinterest, but get on there, and thank you so much for your time.
All right, thank you.
All right.
All right, AfroTech family, it's time for a quick lunch break. Go recharge, refuel. Make sure you check out the networking spaces right outside the innovation stage. Connect with somebody new. You never know who your next collaborator might be. And meet us back here at 2 p.m. sharp. We're going to have a truly futuristic session you are not going to want to miss.